Okay, little minis. Quick question. Have your socks ever fallen down inside your shoe during a round of golf? Because it drives me crazy. When you walk 18 holes, your socks sliding down is the worst. You're trying to focus on your swing, and suddenly your sock is bunching up in your shoe. But I met these really cool people named Jessica and Gabe Miller, the creator of Squid Socks. They're this awesome sock company that makes socks ankle size, no-show, or high socks in all different colors. As you can see right here, where it says Squid Socks, their logo is actually the grip. And I cannot wait to show you the interview. Hey everyone. Today, I'm so excited because I am here with the founders of Squid Socks, Jessica and Gabe Miller. They are socks that stay up and don't slip. Trust me, in golf, socks matter. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us.
Of course. So let's get started. There are so many kinds of socks out there. When you were first starting, how did you figure out what would make Squid Socks different from everything else?
That's a great question. Well, we started with baby socks back in the day. So that was our first product, and that got us on Shark Tank. And we had our kids out there with us, which was a wild card and pretty fun. So after that, that's been the majority of our business. And then when we were filming some baby content back in the day, we had a good friend that was helping us do the filming. And he was a big golfer, actually. And he said, gosh, I hate it when my sock rolls down under my heel when I'm walking the course. And he goes, if you guys could invent a sock for adults that prevented that, that would be a great idea. And that was years ago. And we put it up on the shelf and said, yeah, we'll get to that one day. Well, now it's one day. And we have a sock that keeps it from rolling under your heel, right? So we have 3 grip zones. We have the inside heel, the outside heel, and the bottom, so that everything is really locked in and stabilized. And it prevents your foot from shifting. It also prevents your sock from rolling under your heel. Here they are in the packaging. So this is our crew sock height. So I'm just gonna pop this open. So this is our crew height, so mid calf, right? So we mentioned the 3 grip zones. So you have grip on the outside of the heel. And in this case, because it's a taller one, we have it on the inside as well. Kind of hard to see, but there's the grip. Yep, there you go. To keep the sock up, just because it's a taller height, right? And then we have the bottom grips as well. So those are the 3 grip zones here. And so the outside heel grip is to basically lock it in and prevent it from rolling, right, for shorter heights. This one up here prevents it from slipping down. And the bottom is to keep you from jamming your toe, right, when maybe you're moving a lot, and say it could be pickleball or even just walking a golf course. It just keeps your foot more stable. So they all kind of work together, right, as a mechanism. They're ergonomic designs, so you can see the right and left. They have a really strong ankle support, so it feels like it's custom. We also use viscose from bamboo, so they're probably the most breathable socks you'll ever wear, and incredibly soft. Crazy, crazy soft.
These socks, instead of the silicone on the inside being up at the top, they're right in the heel area, right? So what's different is you'll find other ankle and no-show socks with grips on the outside, but we're the only ones that put the grips, the silicone grips on the outside and the inside. So that locks your foot, your sock, and your shoe together so that there's no way it's slipping down. So it works a lot better for that. And then what I'll just say about golfing and really all sports is we all grew up wearing regular socks, which are socks without grips on them. And so we don't even know this is happening, but our feet are shifting around in our shoe, right? It's sliding around. And so when you're hitting a golf ball, that little bit of like shifting and rotation, that reduces your, like, it's almost like imagine golfing with bad grips on your golf shoes or none, like, you know, trying to golf bare feet, like that's not good, right? So like anytime you're like locked in and things aren't shifting, and even if it's between your foot and your shoe, like you're better off.
Who came up with the idea first?
It truthfully was a joint effort. So we were on our honeymoon, of all things, and we were visiting Gabe's cousin in London, and he had a little baby, and we were eating dinner, and he was holding the baby, and the baby, his socks kept falling off. He kept picking him up, and he was getting really frustrated. And he said, man, if someone could invent a baby sock that stayed on, that would be $1 million idea. So literally that night we went back to our hotel room. We were in London and we just thought of all these ways, how could we make a sock that stayed on? So that's what started us on our journey. And we used really high grade silicone. And then we just applied that same kind of technology, right, to the adult sock. That's how it started.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on the adult, who came up with the idea there? It was both times it was around that pain point. So like there was a need. So we heard the need from other people. We didn't come up with the need. Like the first one was my cousin's baby, or my cousin that complained about a problem. And then the second one was our friend Gary the golfer. His name really is Gary.
Gary the golfer.
And so he came up, he told us that need. So we didn't come up with the problem, but we then tried to figure out, well, how can we solve it? And so then like between Jessica and I, who came up with that design, that we struggle with this all the time with our company. Pretty much we're always talking about things together. We're always talking about the company, dinner table, breakfast table all the time. And what can we do with this product? How can we solve this problem? So later on, years later, when we're like, whose idea was that? We can never remember. We're never sure. And so it seems like it's always just like a mashing of our conversations that we're both involved with. But the silicone on the inside and the outside, and then on the bottom, that was a carryover from our baby socks. We thought it'd just be cool so that if adults were walking around on hardwood floors, they wouldn't slip. But then once we put the socks on golfers, and they told us how much that locked their foot in, and that gives them better power and stability and control. Again, we didn't even know that we were solving that problem. It was just a carryover, and then so we kind of got lucky a little bit, I guess.
Okay, so I have to know, why squids? How did a sea creature become a sock company?
That's a great question. Another collaborative effort. So because we started with kids, I suppose, I remember being at my parents' house and we were all in the living room and we're all just brainstorming and throwing out random things. So we're trying to think, for whatever reason, we went to creatures. I don't know why. Like, what kind of creature has grip-like properties? And so I think we threw out frog. Oh, frog feet. We're like, no, that's not it. And then somebody said squid, and we're like, oh yeah, the tentacles and the suction cups are kind of round, right? So that's how it came to be, and then we just rolled with it.
That's really cute. How do you balance being parents and business owners at the same time?
Ooh, that is a very good question.
Balance or manage?
Yes.
I don't know.
Matter.
I don't know.
It's that's a really awesome question. So
It is.
like one example is we're going to a trade show next month and we're bringing our kids with us. So we see that as a really exciting opportunity for them to be with us. It's during their spring break, so they're not missing school. And we're going to do some family things, and then we're going to do some business things. And the business, like they're going to come and staff the booth at the trade show with us, and they're going to have the opportunity to like be exposed to all sorts of cool things that a lot of kids aren't exposed to. And so like involving them, they're excited. They love that we have this business. They have a lot of pride in it. They love being involved in it. So one way we do it is we just
Integrate them.
Yeah, like we're talking about it at the dinner table while we're with them, we're involving them, and so there's that, and then it's just making sure that we prioritize the family as well, right? Like after this, I'm taking my daughter to singing lessons, and so just all the things that normal families do as a family, we just make sure that there's time for that, and so. I guess the balance just happens because we make the business a priority and integrate it, but we also make just like time that's not about the business also priority. And, there's enough time in the day for both.
So, how do you decide on new colors and designs?
This is the fun part for me.
I don't decide. I'll tell you how I decide. Jessica says, do you like this? And I say, do you like it? And she says, yes. And I go, yeah, me too.
Well, that's pretty much it. Gabe and I are very yin and yang for sure. I am much more the creative side of things, and Gabe is the number side of things. And I think that's why we work well together for sure, to have that that balance, I suppose. But it's just, I don't know. I think I've always just had a passion for color and design and things like that. So, I'm kind of looking at what's out there, what's coming up, what's possibly trending. But I always start with the basics. The basics sell all day long, right? Like gray, white, black, that's never going to go out of style. So that's tried and true. And then I'll just do some very low lift research of, okay, what are the most popular colors beyond that out there? Hot pink, for example, you're seeing it everywhere, right? So we just came out with a hot pink stock. And sometimes I have a whole color book, right? And I will lay it all out. And I'm like, all right, which colors again are popular, which colors kind of go with one another, what should we think about for something like spring? It's probably softer colors, pastels, things like that, but always have your basic core colors again. So sometimes you don't always get it right and you take a little bit of a risk, and that's what's fun. But Gabe is very encouraging.
You sometimes ask customers a little bit too, haven't you done that?
For
we get a lot of feedback from people. They're like, what about this? What about that? So we're always trying to pay attention. Like, we'd love to do everything people ask for, but that costs money and some time and effort. But we really pay attention to what people say they want.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's incredibly important.
So, one, love hot pink. My favorite color is pink. I love to draw.
I did all the time when I was younger too. Absolutely loved it. Our daughter loves to draw as well.
My dad says I get my creative side from him.
Where do you get your golf side from? Your athleticism.
So my dad and my mom are not golfers. I just picked it up on my own.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow. Young too. That's amazing.
I started with Minnie-Golfing, and
Perfect.
I just loved it ever since. I was putting once, and then all of a sudden I saw a driver, and then I was like, let's try it. And so I took a swing, and then I've just been golfing ever since.
Amazing. You just knew that was your passion right off the get-go.
Yep.
That's so cool.
If Squid Socks had a mascot personality, what would it be like? Would it be like bubbly? Would it be like fun? Would it be like, I don't know.
What a fun question.
That's a really interesting question, because it kind of gets to what is the identity of your brand, I think.
Yeah.
It's like when we started the company, the personality of the squid was, for babies, it was, and we actually had a character called Samson. I don't know if you can show that, but it's a kind of a caricature of this kind of playful, fun squid, right? And so that was like our brand identity. And then in the last year, as we introduced adult socks, we found that it's really taking off for performance athletes. And so that same sort of personality of like fun and childish and stuff doesn't really mesh with like seriousness of performance athletics. And so our new brand identity is shifting. And so we have new designs of squids now that are, they look totally different. And how would you describe the change in personality there, Jessica?
Yeah, I think before it was softer and more playful and child friendly that way, right? And cute. And now it's kind of grown up to, I think it just has this, like, it came into its own. It has this confidence and it has this energy and this vibrancy. And that's how I think of it. I don't know if I'm describing it the way that you would, Gabe, but that's kind of what I think of, is just this intense confidence.
Yeah, I would just add bold, because I think of that when I see our right here.
Our new packaging, that's squid eye. So that's the eye of a squid, right?
So what was the hardest part about starting Squid Socks? Was there ever a moment that you thought it might not work?
Like yesterday, and then the day before, and then the day before.
That feeling ebbs and flows, for sure. It is. Yes, oh my gosh, the stories that we could tell. When we first founded this, I think our son was maybe only a couple months old, and they're only 15 months apart. Our kids are only 15 months apart. So we were in the absolute trenches. And I remember we would get inventory to our house, and it was stacked floor to ceiling. Around our kitchen table, we're trying to take care of like 2 newborns practically, and half of our inventory was bad. Like, we couldn't even sell it. And I remember the stuff we could sell, I remember my sister, my mom, my dad, everyone helping us. We had to open every single pack. And there were all these loose threads, and we were cutting by hand the loose threads before putting them back and shipping them out to customers. That was just one of many stories. But that was brutal. That, trying to raise 2 babies basically and other jobs and trying to make this work was, it was very difficult. And then you just hit other growth pains, right? And so you have success, and with that comes a new challenge, right? And I think that continues to happen, and you continue to adapt, and you just realize, okay, with this great growth is also going to be this headache, and then you have to figure out how to deal with that headache. And then all of a sudden, though, throughout all the years, you build a thick skin. You have so much knowledge that you just couldn't ever learn, in school. I mean, it's just such real world knowledge, and you become a lot more confident. You know how to have these conversations that you didn't think you'd ever be able to have. You know how to negotiate things and ask for things. And it's weird, as we must be gluttons for punishment because we keep getting back in the ring, right? But we love it.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, there's going to be critics out there, and it's so easy for them to do that, and none of them ever take the risk. None of them ever take the chance, right? So you got to keep that in mind. And it's hard to just brush it off and pretend like it doesn't bother you, because we're human. Of course it does, right? But it's how you just push through and you keep on going and somehow filter out the noise the best way that you can. And at least you can look yourself in the mirror and say, at least I'm going for it.
What's one mistake that you made that actually helped grow the company?
I know this one.
Oh, do you? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we took a big loan when we decided we were going to go after the adult socks, and with that loan, we wanted to buy a bunch of inventory, and we wanted to do a really awesome, amazing commercial, and we did the commercial, and it was like so much money, more than we've ever spent on any one thing. And we just went for it. And it did not perform. It did not perform. We were like, still to this day, we're like, we lost so much money. And what actually happened, though, was when we made that commercial, we traveled down to Utah, and we got introduced to different people, because the people that were helping us make the commercial, they knew people, and the people that they introduced to us knew people. And so we tapped into this really cool network that I don't think we would have tapped into otherwise. And such a big deal when, like, the biggest thing, or one of the biggest thing when running a company, is your team. And our team right now is like a whole new team than it was before. And it's like all people we met because we got our butt kicked on making this video. And so it turned out to be like, one of the most devastating things for us, but also one of the biggest things for us. And so we're really hoping that, like, in the few years when we blow up, we can just look back and say, yeah, that money, it's small potatoes now that we lost, but look where we are today because of the team we built as a result of it.
So if you hadn't gone through one of those tough moments, do you think Squid Socks would be different today? Do mistakes actually make companies stronger?
I think they absolutely do, because that's the way that you learn. It really is. If you got it right every single time, one, that sounds cool, but it'd probably be kind of boring. And I think you're leaving a lot of learning on the table. I mean, there's no other way to go about whether it's business or life. It's just part of the journey. You're going to make mistakes. And I think once you kind of get your head wrapped around that, it's less scary sounding, and it's less scary feeling. And you learn how to deal with mistakes and losses and things like that differently. So I think it absolutely builds character, it builds foundation, it just builds confidence. And, as hard as it was to go through all of those things, it got us to where we are. So I think we would be on a completely different journey, a different trajectory if we hadn't gone through those things.
Now that Squid Socks is getting bigger, how do you make sure it still feels the same fun idea as you started with and doesn't lose that original spark?
These are awesome questions. I think doing adult socks is what did that for us. You know, it's like we did the baby sock thing for a long time, and that's still great and that's still viable. But I think because we're entrepreneurs, we're always looking for that, you know, that spark, like you mentioned. And that's great. And it's like, okay, we understand this. This is posting. This is doing well. And then adults was like, wow, this is a whole new customer, and we get to make a new product, and we get to design this again, and we get to figure out new branding and marketing. And it's just, it feels like, I don't want to say we're back at square one again, because we're not, because we have all of this experience and all of this learning now. But it does feel like a new product in a way. And
new company, right? It does feel like a fresh start up again. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. So, and it's just, because it's a different audience, it's different tactics and all these different approaches and different messaging. And so it feels very lively again.
Yeah. So I think the way to answer your question, I agree with you, Jessica. So the way I would answer that or add to that is we can, and I hadn't thought about this until you asked it. So I'm really appreciating this question because it's making me go, oh, wow, what I really want to be as a company. Kind of gives me goosebumps. But the way we can maintain like the Squid Socks spirit and the Squid Socks culture is to never stop innovating. Because everything Jessica's talking about there, that's all innovation, whether it's product innovation, marketing innovation, all these things. And so we don't want to be an apparel company that has everything and t-shirts and hats and all that stuff. Like, we just want to do socks better than anyone else in the world. Yeah. But with socks, there's so much innovation opportunity, right? There's a custom sock for every sport, soccer socks, Pilates socks, on and on and on. And then there's also just even outside of sports, different people with different special needs and medical. And so I think the way we can do what you asked is we can just like never stop being innovative.
Thank you so much. You too. I had
nice
so
to
much
meet
fun.
You. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. I want to thank Squid Socks, especially Jessica and Gabe Miller, for giving me these awesome socks. I had such a great time talking to them. I'll see you next time on the green with some cool socks. Bye.